Hey everyone, welcome back to Royal Riches, the channel where we explore the fortunes, lifestyles, and luxuries of the most legendary people in history. Today we're diving into the world of Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt, lover of Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, and one of the richest and most powerful women who ever lived. Just how rich was Cleopatra? What did her lifestyle look like? And how did she spend her unimaginable wealth? Let's find out. Cleopatra's net worth is hard to pin down, but modern historians estimate it at around $90 to $100 billion in today's value. That's right, she might have been richer than most modern billionaires. Some even rank her among the 5 wealthiest women in all of history. Her wealth came from one major source: power. Cleopatra ruled Egypt at a time when it was the breadbasket of the ancient world. The Nile's fertile land produced enormous amounts of grain, papyrus, salt, and other resources that everyone, especially Rome, depended on. And Cleopatra controlled it all. Half of everything Egypt produced went straight into her royal treasury. In today's terms, that's like owning half of your country's economy. But Cleopatra wasn't just sitting on piles of gold. She was a businesswoman. She owned textile workshops, perfume factories, and oil production facilities. She taxed trade along the Nile and controlled access to ports and trading posts. She managed the export of grain, papyrus, and luxury goods, all of which made her treasury overflow with silver talents. Even ancient records mention her annual revenue being tens of thousands of silver talents, an enormous fortune by ancient standards. Now let's talk about her lifestyle. Cleopatra lived in the royal palace in Alexandria, the capital of Egypt. This wasn't a simple palace, it was an empire of luxury. Imagine vast marble halls decorated with gold, colorful mosaics, and imported stones from across the Mediterranean. Her palace overlooked the sea, surrounded by gardens, fountains, exotic plants, and sacred temples. Every wall told a story of wealth and power. Inside, her chambers were filled with jewelry boxes, mirrors framed in gold, and perfumes made from rare oils. Cleopatra was famous for her beauty rituals. She bathed in milk, used honey masks, and wore custom-made cosmetics made from crushed gemstones and minerals. She didn't just want to look like a queen. She wanted to look divine. Now, you might wonder, what about her cars? Well, she didn't have Teslas or Lamborghinis, but her version was even grander. She traveled the Nile on magnificent royal barges, enormous golden ships decorated with silk sails, carved pillars, and incense burning as musicians played. When she arrived in cities, she didn't step out of a limousine. She glided up the river on what was basically a floating palace. Those barges were her status symbols, just like a billionaire's yacht today. On land, Cleopatra traveled by chariot or royal sedan carried by servants. Wherever she went, gold shimmered, incense trailed, and people bowed. Cleopatra's businesses and investments were not like modern companies or stocks. They were royal monopolies. She owned huge estates along the Nile, collected taxes from farmers, leased land for grazing, and controlled trade licenses. She even granted merchants the right to use Egyptian ports in exchange for massive fees. Land was her biggest asset, and she owned more of it than anyone else in Egypt. She also played the financial game internationally. Cleopatra loaned money to Roman politicians, supported armies, and invested in alliances that protected her power. Her relationship with Julius Caesar and later Mark Antony wasn't just romance, it was also strategy. Through them, she gained political protection and access to trade routes that made Egypt even wealthier. But even with all her riches, Cleopatra had financial pressures. Running an empire wasn't cheap. She had to fund armies, fleets, and royal ceremonies. Some historians believe she borrowed heavily from Roman sources to maintain her empire's image and stability. So, even though she lived in unimaginable luxury, she wasn't free from economic challenges. Let's put this in modern perspective. If Cleopatra lived today, she'd be the ultimate billionaire queen. Her palaces would rival Dubai's royal mansions. Her Nile barges would be super yachts. Her perfume factories would be global luxury brands. Her grain empire would be like owning half of the world's food supply. Imagine her. Instagram feed, royal selfies on golden boats. Luxury banquets with jewels and captions like ruling the Nile. One empire at a time. She'd break the internet every single day. So what did a normal day in Cleopatra's life look like? Picture this. She wakes at sunrise in her marble palace in Alexandria, wrapped in silk sheets. Her servants bring her fruit, honey, and imported wine. She consults with advisors about grain exports and taxes, then sails on a royal barge to inspect the Nile estates. By noon, she's hosting a diplomatic banquet filled with exotic dishes, dancers, and musicians. In the evening, she meets foreign envoys, reviews her finances, and plans political strategies. At night, she relaxes with scented oils, poetry, and music as the moon reflects off the Mediterranean. Every moment of her life was steeped in beauty, power, and gold. But Cleopatra's wealth wasn't just about material luxury. It was about influence, the power to shape empires and decide the fate of nations. Her charm and intelligence were as valuable as her treasures. She spoke several languages, studied science, philosophy, and politics, and ruled with absolute authority. She wasn't just rich, she was strategic, ambitious, and visionary. So, how do we sum up Cleopatra's wealth in one sentence? She was the ultimate ancient billionaire, a ruler who merged beauty, brains, and business. Her empire stretched across the Nile and into the pages of history. Even 2,000 years later, her story still defines what it means to live in royal luxury. Cleopatra's legacy reminds, yes, that wealth is more than money. It's power, influence, and the ability to shape history. And when it comes to legendary luxury, no one ever did it quite like the Queen of the Nile. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this royal deep dive, hit like, subscribe, and let me know which historical figure's fortune you want to explore next. See you in the next video on Royal Riches.